It's a way of the Mr. Quickie, oh yeah. I have recently become convinced that Jordan Peterson is an atheist. I know you can find him here on YouTube crying about his Jesus, but I'm fairly certain I'm right about this, to the core. As you may or may not know, I'm not actually an atheist. I'm a Christian, or a Judeo-Christian. I don't kill people, steal their stuff. I don't rape women or men. I try to be honest in all my dealings with my fellow woman, and I even used to clap on 1 and 3 instead of 2 and 4 back before developing a deep and abiding love for a Philly soul in the early 70s. If you're wondering what the hell I'm talking about, I'm referring to Jordan Peterson's frequent and ridiculous claim that atheists aren't really atheists because they act in ways which demonstrate the underpinnings and continued nurturing of the wider alleged Judeo-Christian ethos of Western civilization. Take a listen.
This is the argument I've had with people like Sam Harris, the atheist types. It's like, yeah, you think you're atheist, man. It's like you're Christian, Judeo-Christian, let's say, to the core. You just don't understand it. You just don't realize it.
Let's set aside for the moment how incredibly condescending that statement is and look at Peterson's claim first empirically, then practically. Am I a Judeo-Christian? To the core? Peterson believes that because, as he says, most people in the West, quote, act out a Judeo-Christian ethic, end quote. But do they? When I don't murder you or steal your stuff, am I behaving that way exclusively or even primarily because of the Judeo-Christian values I grew up with? No. Those values are in no way exclusive to or uniquely embraced in the Judeo-Christian West, nor did they originate there. The fact is, those values predate the Judeo-Christian West. Ancient Egyptians, for instance, had sanctions against people who committed various crimes, including murder, injury, rape, adultery, and theft. Indeed, kingdoms and empires the world over, all of which predate the emergence of the Hebrews and their tribal war god of Abraham, had similar sanctions against those various behaviors. Peterson can say that I'm a Judeo-Christian to the core, but then I can say that Peterson is an Egyptian, Babylonian, Greek, or Roman to the core. Those values didn't suddenly spring to life in the midst of millions of Hebrews wandering the desert some 3,300 years ago. Peterson has also claimed that those Judeo-Christian values are transcendent, despite all evidence to the contrary. We now know that the story of the Exodus is pure fiction. The Hebrews were not enslaved in Egypt and miraculously led into the desert by a prophet of God, Moses. Which means there was no burning bush and no tablets handed down from on high containing those Judeo-Christian values. Practically speaking, Peterson lives and acts out those specifically Judeo-Christian values as little as I do. He's not advocating for the toleration of slavery or even indentured servitude. He doesn't embrace genocide as morally acceptable. Peterson doesn't want to murder non-virgin girls and homosexuals. He doesn't kill witches or refrain from wearing linen and wool together, as far as I can tell. Peterson believes in free speech, not blasphemy laws. He believes in the free exercise of religion rather than killing those who worship another spirit. Peterson doesn't want to execute adulterers or sabbath-breakers, nor is he apparently giving all of his money and possessions to the poor. God forbid, pun intended. That, according to Peterson, makes Peterson much more like me, an atheist, who takes what's good and universally beneficial from that not-so-good book and leaves the rest behind. Peterson is an atheist to the core. I just hope that core isn't as calculating and opportunistic as it appears. Once again, I'm me. Thanks for watching.